knowing that you'll respect them in the morning with intelligent talk that stimulates.
Welcome back to our Picking Up the Pieces segment. This is Inside the News. Glad to have you with us. Affiliates across the country on YouTube, on SoundCloud, and AUN TV. AUN-TV.com is their website. Okay, we promised this in our tease at the beginning here, the schools. And here's our premise here, is that the schools need to reopen because it's almost treated like a daycare. We need to do this. People need to get back to work. Let's go back some 60, 70, maybe 80 years ago to World War II, when all of a sudden Rosie the Riviter came on the scene and people left the home, mainly women, to go work in the factories. Well, now all of a sudden there's another element now working in the economy. And now jump to 2020 here, we need kids going back to school so that this other working group can go to work. And so it's now becoming a babysitter. It's going to help in other needs and everything. And Ben, do you kind of see where we're going with this?
Well, you're hitting on a lot of key points. Going back to World War II, it was a cultural revolution. Women joined the workforce and took jobs that were traditionally male jobs, manufacturing jobs. And you know what? They showed that they could do all those jobs quite well. The amount of material that we pumped out during World War II was unbelievable.
And this is
tens of thousands.
This is not to knock the women working, because we really do appreciate them in the workforce.
Oh, absolutely. But it was a cultural revolution, and it showed that women can work, and that's carried forward to this day. Our school system is absolutely critical to our modern economy because we have so many households that have either single parents or dual income parents, where they need that school system to take care of the kids during the day. And any parent understands that. Anyone who's raised children understands that. And it is part and parcel, and it is a political witch hunt now to shut down the school system. This is pure politics. Throughout Europe, all the school systems are open. And in fact, in most European countries like Germany, the school systems never shut during this entire COVID process. It was never an issue. You want to take care of at-risk older teachers, fine, but keep the school systems, get them back open. It is absolutely critical to returning to normal in this country.
Okay, Frank, we're going to talk about the schools, but you brought up another point off the air about housing, Frank.
Well, as America became a nation of two income earners, they didn't really get ahead economically. In many cases, housing prices escalated to recognize the fact that family income had perhaps doubled with two incomes. So American families really didn't get ahead. Going back to schools, part of the problem and part of the reason there's this urgent debate about opening schools is that schools no longer function as their prime motivation is to educate the young. Schools have now become a place to feed the young, to engage in all sorts of socialization, to babysit, quite frankly. And what the Chinese virus has exposed is our dependence on the school system, not for education, but for just about everything else. If you look at the lack of progress that our young people have made in comparison with their peers overseas, you see the emphasis within our school system on non-educational issues has become tremendous. And we have a nation suffered because of it. I come from a family of school teachers. And what I hear over the dinner table, what they spend their day doing, essentially education, formal education, seems to be sort of in second or even third place, and everything else seems to be a priority. And of course, the concern is that what passes for education in many cases is more indoctrination to begin with. Hence the real discussion about what the role of the school system in the United States actually is.
Okay, we have a minute left here, Ben. Schools, and they say that so much happens in those first 6 years of a person's life, in that social interaction, getting them into kindergarten and first and second grade is really important in the development of the individual, Ben.
Well, it certainly is. And of course, socialization is one of the things you do get in a school system, regardless of the politics of the school itself. And let's face it, at the elementary level, there's fortunately still basic education that occurs in our public schools. I think it gets worse as you get older in terms of the politicization of the school agenda. There's a little bit of indoctrination going on even at the elementary school level, but by and large, it's where kids learn the basics, reading and writing and arithmetic and socialization. So it's very important, and we have to get our schools open. We cannot hope to return to normalcy without it. And of course, that's what exactly is what is driving these governors who are trying, and teachers unions that are trying to keep schools closed this fall.
All right, this is Inside the News. Thank you so much for joining us. We are going to be putting a bow on the program next, and we're going to talk about Congress. Have they even worked at all this year, except for the impeachment at the beginning of the year? They've been hit or miss, and now they're saying we're going to be out till the middle of September. We're going to talk about that coming up. You're watching us on AUN TV and YouTube, and you're listening to us on affiliates across the country. We'll be back.
You're listening to Wehman, Brunson, and Vernuccio, Inside the News.